Hey guys, so it's going to be a bit quiet on the channel over the next couple of days just because I've got a busy few days on, so I won't be able to do any videos, I don't think. But I didn't want to leave you without just going through these two machines side by side, the Creatista Plus and the Creatista Pro. There's obviously a deal on at the moment to get them, and we've discussed that in other videos, so I won't go through it now. But let's have a look at the specifications and see the differences. So the first thing is the size. We can obviously see, well, we'll start with the colour. At the minute, in the Creatista Pro in the UK, it's only available in this colour. So we have a look at it from the side a little bit. It's just sort of a brushed, I think it's stainless steel. It's got a brushed effect, but, you know, it does get a bit fingerprinty, got to say. If you have a look on top, I don't know if you can see any of the fingerprints, but it can get fingerprinty. When you're wiping it, it's difficult to get it looking brilliant, but you can do if you spend enough time on it. But I just thought I'd mention that, just in case it's something that would literally do your head in. This one is available, I think, in 5 different colours. This is the black truffle. There's a blue one, stainless steel again, hickory, I think grey, I think. But check that out for yourself. Let's talk price actually, price-wise. £650 RRP in the UK, £400 for the hickory one, RRP for the plus, or £450 if you choose one of the coloured ones. Now, to me, I think that's a lot of money to have a colour on it, £50, but I'll be honest with you, fingerprints-wise, it's a lot better. Personally, I feel it's a lot better, and I like the look of it as well. So they've got me hook, line and sinker there, because if I was to, I probably would keep it even though I pay £50 more, but then maybe they know that, and that's why it's that price. Anyway, dimensions. We can see that the Pro is bigger than the Plus. The Plus measurements are 17.1 centimetres across, 39.3 deep, and 30.8 high. For the Pro, we've got 20 centimetres across, so about 3 centimetres wider, 43 deep, so how many centimetres is that deeper? About 4 centimetres deeper, and 33 high. So just a couple of centimetres, I think, higher. They've both got 19 bar pressure, they're both 19 bar pressure machines. A big difference between the two is that this one has like a single thermo jet, or whatever they call it. So basically, you can either make coffee at one time or froth the milk at one time. That's it. So you'll either pour the coffee first, then froth the milk, or vice versa. With the Pro, it has sort of 2 jets going into it. I haven't opened up the machine, I'm not an engineer, but this is what I understand about the machine. And that means it can make them both simultaneously, which it does make a difference. It can be handy because say you put enough milk in for 2 coffees, like 2 cappuccinos. I'm not sure if that's recommended, but you can do it. I've done it. It just means that you can sort of pour 2 espressos while the milk's frothing, and you're supposed to be able to make 2 cappuccinos in less than a minute. On the US website, it says 75 seconds. On here, it's on the UK one, it seemed to say in less than 60 seconds. So that's a benefit of that. This one has 8 coffee settings. So it has ristretto, lungo, espresso, and it has cafe latte, latte macchiato, cappuccino, and flat white, and then just hot milk as well. This one has 1 extra setting, so it has all of those, but it also has, it says on my box, americano. And on the website it says americano. On here it says long black. I don't know why it says that, because I know they're essentially the same, but I've read that they're different. You put the espresso in first on one and not on the other. But it's an americano, pretty much. But it says long black. This one has a touch screen. That's a good opportunity to turn it on. They both heat up in 3 seconds, by the way, which compared to some of the cheaper Nespresso machines, you know, that's lightning quick. We'll just scroll down here. So you can see the touchscreen's quite a nice little thing. It has a hot water button, which the other one doesn't have. And that means you can pour, we tested the heat of it today. At 70 degrees the water came out of that. You can see the fingerprints there, look on the side. We tested it out of the kettle, comes out about 90 degrees. So, but it's drinkable, and you could probably use it for a cup of tea if you primed it a little bit first to get any coffee residue out. You could probably use it for a herbal tea, things like that. But you can get hot water out of the Plus, and you would just sort of run a shot of standard water through first, again to get rid of any residue, and then hit the lungo button, and you get 110 ml of, like, not boiling hot, but it's going to be hot. Probably roughly the same, because I tested the coffee on this, it came out approaching 70, didn't it, in one of the videos. So I'm guessing the water will be that hot, but I can test it in another video if we need to. You can get hot water out of that. This one has a specified button for it. But again, if we just, one thing about this one that the other one doesn't have, so the Pro, this is the Pro we're looking at. We look at the screen again. When you're making drinks, you can actually, when you're doing the settings, you can do settings for yourself. So you can actually store drinks on there that you might want to make every single day. So say you've got like, you like a flat white, but you like it a little bit hotter. You can change, on both machines, you can change the temperature. They both have, I think, 8 different froth settings you can use and 11 different temperature settings. But on the other one, you can't store the drinks like you can on this. So say you want to turn it up and you don't want to be doing it every single day, you can save it, add your name, and then just come down in the morning, press it. As you can tell, I'm called Adam. And it will just make the drink for you as you like it. And it's good if you're on the go, you know, if you want to do it quickly, it's going to be helpful, isn't it? The good thing about touchscreen as well is it sort of gives you step-by-step instructions as to what to do. The good thing about the fact that it does both at the same time, milk and coffee, that you don't have to remember to like press it in between to start the milk, start the coffee. So that's a good benefit. But we're looking at differences. So again, water tank, that's a difference. The water tank on the Pro is a 2-litre tank. Now that's massive. I mean, if you're looking at the smallest Nespresso machines, like the Essenza Mini, that's got a 0.6 litre tank. The Settees, which is quite a big-ish machine for original machines, that's got a 1 litre tank, I think it is. So 2 litres, really big. So if you're a family, you're making a lot of coffees all the time, especially like in the morning, or you're making a lot of americanos maybe as well, you're going to see a benefit from having that, so that you don't have to change the water all the time. With the Plus, it's a 1.5 litre tank. So still a big improvement on something like a Settees. It's still big, but this will give you half a litre more in that. So let's have a quick look now at the Plus and the dial operation. We've looked at the touch screen on the Pro. This is the Plus. So again, heats up in 3 seconds. As you can see, we've got the different settings on there. And when you want, you can't actually change sort of coffee temperature on the coffee on these machines. I don't think you can anyway. I think the only one you can do that on, I read on the Nespresso website, is the the expert machines. You can change the coffee temperature on those. I don't think you can do it on that. Let's have a look. No, it disappears, look. That setting, it just gives you the option to make it. Whereas with the flat whites, you just press on it. You can choose how much froth you want, setting 1 to setting 8, how hot you want it, so setting 1 to setting 11. You can also change the coffee volume. So it'll give you a little bit more espresso, a little bit less, etc. And that's how that works. Right, the drip trays. I'm just going to point out now some benefits of the machine as to them being a little bit wider. You might think, oh, I don't know if I want such a big imposing machine. Do I really need the extra space? Well, the second I got this machine, I loved it. I really loved it. I still do. I still think it's a great machine. Froths milk really well. It's absolutely brilliant. But if I just show you now, so if we put the milk under, so I'm going to be making a coffee with it in a minute anyway, and you put the Latte Macchiato glass next to it, you can see they do go pretty close, don't they? And I'll show you in a minute the Cappuccino cups from Nespresso as well. We'll do the same with the Pro. Just put that on. Put that next to it. You can see there's plenty of room to sort of manoeuvre. And you can just stop it, you know, when you're making the coffee. I know they make them separately, but you do tend to put the glasses on together anyway, just in case you get caught out. I do anyway, in case I get caught out with the espresso coming out first when I'm expecting it to come out second or something. But it can bang together, you know, while it's making it, while the machine's vibrating. You can get around it. You can get around it, but it's just that little bit harder. With that one, obviously, you've got a lot more room to play, haven't you? So that's the benefit of doing that. I'm actually going to have to take these off now because there's something else I want to show you. But I'll give it a quick, I'll take them back off. I'll show you, like this is what you do when you're doing it anyway. I like to take the glass off when I've made a coffee. The jug comes out, you just sort of wipe them down on both. But I do want to show you the capsule holders and the shelf, so I thought I'd best just do this. I'll show you the capsule holders and we'll look at how many they hold, because there's not really a lot of information on the website about that. So I'm going to have a look at how many they hold, and then I'm just going to show you the cappuccino cups in there as well. So let's have a look at this one. So they just pop out like that. There's a little shelf as well. I'll put that back in for a second, show you what I mean. A little shelf to hold your cappuccino cup. That should have stayed in. Or you can go back in for when you're making latte macchiatos. That's the used capsule container for the Plus version. I've actually got a pack of, I'm going to use the cozy ones because I got sent these for free with the machine, a pack of cozy pods. They're not my favourite ones, so I thought I'd use them on the video just to show you the drinks being made. There's about 10 in there, probably fit maybe 1 or 2 more in, but they do tend to like start stacking up a little bit. But yeah, probably about 12 or 13. There's 13 there in that, and we can see it's getting pretty much full. So let's have a look in the Pro then. I'll just transfer these over. See, there's about 12 or 13 in there. We'll see if we can fit many more in. I'm only having to do this because it didn't seem to list it on the website. So 14, 15, 16, maybe one more, do you think? 17, I think that's about, looking about maximum there. Maybe one more, maybe to 18. But that's how many they hold. Pop these back in here. But again, I'm really torn between the two myself because I think it's what do you need from a machine and how many of there are you in the family, how annoyed do you get when you don't have enough room to move and things like that. I quite like a bit of room to manoeuvre, but I also really like this touch screen, and I was wondering if we have a look at the touch screen again. I was just wondering if they could have fit this on the Plus because there does seem to be room for it. It's a 2-inch across display. I'm not sure what it is height-wise, but estimating now what, if it's 2-inch across, probably coming up to 4-inch probably display height-wise. But if we look at the Plus, I measured earlier and it's about 2-inch from sort of here to here anyway. So I think they could fit one on, but it's whether it's worth putting that in, I guess, money-wise, to how much the machine would cost if you're still going to keep it skinnier and not give the extra benefits that the Pro would bring. They both have these little drip trays. They purge into the drip trays, but we'll show you that later. And do check out the unboxings of them both for that if you want to see that. Right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to make a latte macchiato on each. It's going to be too much, I think, to try. I want to test the temperature on them at the ideal level. Now, let me tell you, the ideal level is quite low. They get really, really hot, these drinks from these machines, and you can get them really hot. But I wanted to test them at ideal just to see if there's any difference in the ideal on this and the ideal on this. If we have a look on top now, you can just see the touch screen again. Latte macchiato. I'm just going to touch it. And I've already set it up for ideal, but just to show you what you can do, you know, that's the milk froth level it's saying. That's the milk temperature. But I mean, I'll scroll it up just so you can see how it works. We bring it back down to ideal. Oh, there's 2 ideals. Oh, no, there's not. That's the ideal. And I've put it on the ideal. If you scroll over here to the Plus now, you can see I've set it up the same way. I've put it on the ideal on that one. You can see it's on latte macchiato. So we're going to make both. I'll test them as they come out. I've got a thermometer. It wasn't cheap, that, actually. It was about 50 quid or something. 40, 50 quid, but I got it on Amazon. But yeah, I just thought I needed something more accurate. It's super fast, so it gets to the temperature in 3 seconds. But shows I take these things seriously to spend that on a thermometer or a temperature checker. But let's make the drink anyway. So we'll pop some pods in. Put pods in preparation, so we're not wasting any time. Yeah, I just wanted to cut in a little bit here because I'm going to explain that I make an error in this video. What you're about to see now, we're supposed to be making 2 latte macchiatos, but actually I managed to turn one of them into a latte, and you'll see how. But I've left it in and I haven't re-recorded the video because what it does show is the touch screen on this gives you more direction as to how to make coffees for the first time as well. So on this it just says, so for the latte macchiato it just says on the Plus, start the milk, start the coffee. Whereas on this, because it has that touch screen with a bigger display, it sort of says, now pour milk froth into glass and then pour the coffee afterwards. So it does give you more instructions. That's not covering up my mistake, it was just a genuine mistake. In the throes of the video, I just poured the milk after the espresso, which I shouldn't have done. But hey, at least you get to see a latte being made with these machines as well. I'll tell you what, we'll start off with, while I'm here, we'll start off with the Plus to show you how that works. You'll see it does 1 each. One thing I want you to look for before we start, I've noticed with the steam one, when it purges at the end, it can tend to splatter around a little bit at the bottom, spit water and milk out when it's purging. It seems to do it more on the Pro. I thought it was a fault, but having spoken to a few people who have the machine, I don't think it is. And I think what it is it seems to sit that tiny bit higher, the steam one on this one, versus the drip tray. And it also seems to be slightly thicker with maybe a bit more power. So I think what it's doing is just splashing out. I did notice it when I looked really hard on here afterwards, but I hadn't noticed it when I hadn't seen that, if you know what I mean. But now I do notice it. And I also feel that this one, and another commenter agreed with me on this. Well, they said it actually, and I'd noticed it, but I didn't know whether to bring it up. That the froth texture seems slightly different between the two. And I've got to be honest, I prefer the froth texture on this one. I think there's something on that one that I just prefer. It's not a massive difference. It's only very slight. But this one has benefits that one doesn't have. And I might just be imagining that, but I have to mention it now. A couple of people have mentioned it because I feel that it's important. I love the froth out of this. I like it out of that, but I think this one just has a little bit of an edge, even though it's a cheaper machine. I think it's to do with that, the size of the wand and things like that. Anyway, let's make the coffee. Come on. Start the milk. See, you've got to press start milk on this one. Because we don't really have to do that on the other machine. Let's get down and have a look at this coffee. So when you'll hear, I don't know whether it'll bang together at all. I mean, you can do it, can't you? But you notice it more as well with the cappuccino cups. When the shelf comes out in a minute, when I make a cappuccino, you'll see. I love the froth in that. I just love the froth. It's so, just seems to be a little bit different. It's really hard to show though, isn't it, with the milk being white. Right, see the difference on this one now. I have to remember to press start coffee. It's not a big deal, but it's just one extra thing to do. But yeah, I mean, it's not really moving closer towards the jug there. It's not banging together, but if you don't set them up right, it can bang together because there's less room on the shelf. There's small differences these, but it's whether you feel it's worth an extra couple of £100, or while it's half price, it's only £100 more, isn't it? But it's still, if you're going to use it every day, it might annoy you, stuff like that. Anyway, so I like to just whack the jug on here, give it a wipe, and every watch it splashes around a little bit, but not as much as the Pro. I'll get pouring this in here while that's doing that. Just have a look at this pouring out here. I put 150 ml of milk in here, by the way, in each one. And we'll just get the thermometer in it. I can't actually see. There we go. So 57 roughly 57 ideal. I left it for 1 or 2 seconds, didn't I, talking, but it's going to be roughly there or thereabouts. But like I say, we made one the other day and it was about 70, up near 70. So it does get really hot, but someone asked me, it'd be interesting to see the temperature on ideal. So there it is. I'll just wipe this down now. Get the damp cloth again. There it is. And we'll move on to make you one with this one. So we have a look on top again now, as we see, ideal temperature. So we'll press this to bring it back down, and then we'll press go. And you'll see it doesn't both together, and that's one of the big differences between the machines. A lot of people seem to like that. It'll brew the coffee and it'll do the milk at the same time. I can't remember if I put a capsule in there. I'm sure it is. Oh, it's a macchiato. Send it out afterwards. Of course it will. You'll see that on the cappuccino, how it does that. It does the. I forgot that the espresso comes through second on this one, doesn't it? Just wasted a capsule there as well. But we'll do it on the cappuccino one. You'll see that it does them together on that. Or it might even. It'll pour it out after anyway on its own. It will do that. With the cappuccino, it does it while the milk's frothing, which saves time. bring this macchiato back over here, side by side as well. I'm really torn between the two machines because I like them both. It's now saying pour froth milk into glass, place glass under spout and start your espresso. So let's do that. Oh, I've got myself in trouble here. Left my cloth over there. Good job I've got long arms. Right, if you watch this now, when it purges, you'll see what I mean. See, it sprays water around, and some people have said that isn't actually a fault. It's just what the machine does. But I'll pour the milk into here while we're looking at that. It is a nice froth, that though, isn't it? It is a good froth. I think I'm just being over the top, but we'll pour this one now. So it's saying do that, and then I do actually have to press it on this one. It should pour now. There. Possibly just being a little bit over the top between the two machines. What I'll do one time, I'll try and make a video and make them side by side at the same time, just so we can see if there is a difference. But I feel, if you look down there, it's had time to settle the other one though, but they're the two macchiatos, same amount of milk. Left it a couple of seconds again, so let's get the temperature. So 55, 54, what was the other one, 57? 57. But, so it's pretty similar. And then if we look down here at what it's done to the machine, look, if that's not a fault, it's not going to ruin your life because you're cleaning this wand anyway. All you've got to do is sort of do that. You don't want to give it, that's a bit up there, isn't it? I want to give it a really bad rep because the benefits the machine has, it does have the touch screen and all that stuff there, and that is really nice to use. It's so much easier than doing the dial and messing about with that. Especially, they've got that hot water button. It's a bit. I found it when I unboxed it a bit difficult to get at, but actually now I know what to press and where to press. It's quite easy to do. But we'll move on now to make another drink. This is going to show the difference on the fact that it makes it at the same time on this one and not on this one. I've set them up already, so we'll just go now, and you can see what I mean. Done. So it's pouring the coffee first on this one. Coffee first, but it's also, if you just come down and have a look at that, it's also doing the milk here at the same time. You see it frothing upwards. If we move over to the plus, it isn't, look. And I now have to press start to start the milk on the cappuccino. If we look now, it starts doing the milk. And if we come back away now, we'll see which one finishes quicker. I mean, this one's going to finish a little bit quicker, isn't it? So it's still going, they're both still going. I don't really want to put these, to get red hot, these jugs. They're probably safe on the worktop, but I don't really want to put them on. Let's take these off. So see, this one is now done. There's not a huge difference, is there, time-wise? How quickly do you need it? This one's now done. Remember to wipe this first. Pour this out. Just pour this out. Oh, just get out that jug. I've got to remember that. Really, it's a funny one, because there's a little bit too much milk for cappuccinos in these jugs. But I didn't want to not take it to the minimum level because I want that froth to drop down on top. But there's only a little bit left in there, look. But there's enough, and I'd rather the minimum level be a little bit lower on them. But they look, let's have a look at them. Slight difference in there, but nothing major. But you saw the differences in how they make the drinks. Is it £200 more? to have it make the coffee and the milk at the same time. Well, I'll leave that up to you, and you can give me your opinion on that in the comments. But also, don't forget that touchscreen. You know, it's a big deal, the touchscreen. We've got the bigger water tank. They have a cleaning tool in them, by the way, underneath the water tank at the back. So let's sum up. A bigger area to work from with the wider machine. It holds more capsules, the Pro. It's got a bigger shelf, wider shelf. Half a litre bigger water tank. This one though, I find it spits water around more than this one when it's purging. It's got a bigger drip tray, so you're going to have to empty it less often. So everything is built for maybe like a family, or if you just don't like changing things very often, or you like to have room to play. £200 more, or £100 if you get it half price, obviously. The touchscreen, let's have another quick look at that before we leave you. The touchscreen, very, very good. It has a hot water button specifically, so you can have hot water into your drinks. How much do people pay to get these taps where it sends out boiling water, you know, fixed into the kitchen? I don't know how hot that water goes, but this was hot enough to have it. We've just seen, I've drunk an ideal latte, sort of, what was it again, 57? And it was a nice, so at 70 degrees it's coming out. That's pretty good. And you can also store your own recipes, don't forget. It does get a bit annoying with the fingerprints on here. I quite like the colour on this. Would be nice if this had a touchscreen, but this is what you're paying your money for, isn't it? So with all that in mind, which do I prefer? Well, I've got to prefer this, haven't I? I love the touchscreen, and it's so much easier to use that way. But I feel like an Aldi advert or something. I like this one, but I like this one. I like them both. It's whether it's worth £200 extra to you to have that benefit of all the things we've already said. I'm not going to repeat them again. And don't forget, it's only available in one colour, whereas this one's available in 5. If you have any questions, if I've missed anything, I've done my best for you. Leave it in the comments. Like I say, I'm having a few busy days, but I will still try and respond to comments like later in the evening or something like that. And we'll be back. Any questions, anything I've missed, I'll try and answer it. If you need me to show anything else on another video, you want to see another drink, make it side by side. One last thing, americano. Don't forget, or according to Nespresso, to prove it, long black. I don't know whether there's much difference between them really, but I've heard there is. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye for now. Please give the video a like if you found it useful. Subscribe to the channel. We've got loads more videos coming up. I'm sorry we've done a lot of Creatista ones recently. It's just because these deals that have been out, they've kind of taken priority. But we've got loads of other videos on the channels discussing different things to do in Nespresso. The other machines, the cheaper ones, the Americanos. And there's going to be more drinks being made, you know, different recipe ideas coming up. We've got loads coming up. So do subscribe, do hit the notification bell. Enjoy your week, and bye for now.